Microphone, please. Your microphone.
Okay. Good afternoon. It's 12:05, and I am calling this meeting to order. Roll call. Ms. Jackie Levin Ramos.
Present.
Cindy Liendo.
Present.
Erica Benavides Garcia, present, and Ms. Lizzie Newsom.
Absent.
Absent. Okay. We will move on to the presentation of enrollment report by Dr. David Ariazola. I want to just, for the record, that Mr. Esteban Rangel has joined us at the meeting. Go ahead, Mr.
David Arizola, Vice President of Student Success and Compliance for the record. Testing. So we want to provide a little update on our enrollment for spring 2026. We're very happy to report that as of yesterday, we have a total of 11,575 students enrolled for spring 2026. That includes 4,344 what we call regular students, 675 for winter semester, and 6,556 for dual. So if you compare that to last spring we had a total 10,974, and the breakdown is there, 560. And you see that in almost every, especially specifically in the winter semester and the dual, we have increased enrollment quite a bit. So every year we set a goal of a 5% increase in enrollment, and we have surpassed that goal for this year. So we had actually a 5.5% increase of enrollment from last year to this year. As a reminder, we're still,
Hi.
it's not over yet. The registration for spring 2026 continues. We have our second start registration. The second starts in the middle of March.
Mr. Liu, I'm sorry. I just want to say that Ms. Newsom has arrived for the record.
Thank you. Sorry, guys.
Go ahead, Mr. Ariazola.
And during Fun Fest, enrollment management services will be open all day to try to increase still even more that 11,575. So we're very happy that again, I know it's very cliche to say team effort, but it is quite an effort by everybody, from academics to making sure that the classes are there for students to take. Tell the story again. Earlier this semester when we got back from winter break and we saw some of the enrollment numbers and a little bit of like this, right? So we developed a plan in-house on doing outreach to students. How many students have haven't gone back from last semester, and how many students have financial aid and haven't registered. We must have made about, how many calls did we make? Yeah, basically.
Wow.
Calling until people came in, and it worked. It worked because we not only met our goal, but we surpassed it. So thank you to everybody who that's attributed to.
Okay, Ms. Newsom?
Yes, on that last slide, I know I've asked, and maybe it'll come later. I don't have this one with me, sorry. But I would like to know from the students that are enrolled, how many of those are dual enrollment students?
It was in the previous.
Okay, yeah,
it was
okay,
in the
sorry about
previous-
that.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, you have
So
it.
about 6,556 for this semester. It's 6,556 dual versus 4,344 regular and 675. So the winter semester students count as spring enrollment.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
As far as how we help students pay for college, our financial aid report shows that Still, 82.4% of our students are awarded Pell. 11.4% are given other grants, and scholarships account for 6.2%. As of now, the college has administered over $15 million of aid for students to pay for their courses. That doesn't include, by the way, what we do for the Palomino Pledge, which is another excellent initiative. It doesn't include what we do for the meal plan. We have knocked down a lot of the barriers for students attending college. But that is for financial aid. Continuing ed, we also like to provide a continuing ed enrollment. They run on a quarter system, so it's calendars are slightly different. So we're a little less than halfway through their year. But as you can see, we're on track at this point to surpass some of the performance from previous years. So in 25-26, we've completed quarter one, almost double of what we had in quarter one of last year. And in quarter two, we're gonna, so looks like we're gonna surpass what we did last year as well. That will continue to update the board on continuing enrollment as it comes through. Want to remind everybody about graduation. Graduation is tentatively scheduled for May 8th. And the graduation application is now open, and the deadline is March 16th for everybody to apply for graduation.
Does anybody have any questions? Ms. Ramos, go ahead.
Dr. Arezola, can you share what were some of the concerns or some of the issues that the students felt maybe they were not registering on time, that they were able to have that discussion when you all were calling them? Like, what was holding them back? What were some of the things that they felt that they weren't reacting towards
Or receiving.
getting that registration done on time? Was it money? Was it,
By and large, money is usually the number one issue, or either uncertainty for how much they owe, or how much it's going to cost them.
Okay.
Did they get financial aid? Did they not? All of those things are usually cleared up. We kind of reassure them once we call them that we have all these things to offer them, and it's just getting them to come in. Sometimes it's just making that, getting them here and then turning them through the process.
By the results, I assume that it facilitated the conversation with them as they were being called, or just like, hey, we're here to help,
Yes.
right? And so,
Right.
because the registration went up. I want to commend, I don't know who did it, but there's a video out there that shows the kids talking about the steps to registration. It's on Instagram and it's on Facebook. I'm on it. I'm checking. And no, I just like to look, and I like to see that there's the students themselves are the ones that are creating this content on social media. So it's really good, and explanations, and like about the meal plan. I also learned, I already knew about it, but I learned from the perspective of the student that they were doing the video. So it was really neat to see that, and thumbs up. So
Thank you.
emoji.
Ms. Kendall?
Thank you. So I know that, Dr. Ramirez, we're going to be moving the departments into a new advising building where it's going to be easier for the students to access the different departments that they need to in order to enroll. When are we looking at that?
Thank you, Ms. Lindo. We're looking at starting to move probably March, because we're still pending some furniture that has not yet arrived. And hopefully we can have everyone in place by the end of March or early April, so that we can kick off this summer the full advising center in the Arechiga Hall.
Great. The reason I'm asking is because, especially for spring, I have received a lot of calls from prospective students who call really just to say that they're discouraged and that they were trying to get advised or get admitted and they were hitting roadblocks. And so fortunately, we're able to refer them to the right people, and then they'll call back and say, you know what, I'm enrolled. It took me a couple of hours. What had taken me, months. Sometimes they tried a year ago and gave up, tried again. And so the reason I'm bringing it up is because we don't want our students to have to make a phone call to somebody in another office. Once they go to get advised, to get admitted, to get recruited, whatever department they go to, I think they should be treated just as if you just got a phone call from somebody higher up telling you, take care of this student, we need them to get enrolled. Every student should be treated that way. And so when they call back and they say, we got it done, it was so easy, great. We love to hear that. But we want to hear that from every student who comes to Laredo College. And so just, keep that in mind when you're talking to potential students.
If I can comment on that is actually something that we have discussed in the enrollment management side about. So we did this outreach campaign in January. We've talked about, well, why aren't we doing this earlier, right? Why can't we do this like for the fall? We can start already and hopefully catch some of these students who are maybe stuck somewhere and reach out and help them before the semester starts, before they make that phone call, and try to be a little bit more proactive about reaching out and not waiting for them to necessarily come to us with these issues.
I'm going to add the same. I have gotten phone calls and mainly it's about that. Okay. It's mainly about the trouble that they have once they get here and they get sent from one place to another and this one doesn't really answer. And after we've made our calls, right, then it's like they're so happy because they want to be here. Okay. They're excited to be here. We're offering them a lot at the college. I mean, we're offering them basically a free education. Okay. But it shouldn't have to feel like, oh, we're getting the A treatment because somebody called. It should be like that for everybody.
Is there a particular office that keeps coming up?
Well, it's usually like in the advising area.
Yeah, well, one of the goals we have and that we set out for this year was to revamp our advising process.
Right.
And Dr. Ariazola's taken the lead on that. We've been meeting with the advisors, and I think the first step to that, and they've outlined an entire year of redevelopment. Now, can we take a whole year? No. So everybody has stepped it up, but the idea is putting the pressure to say, right, on the advisors. One, to get up to speed with all the degree plans and with the catalog and the requirements within the catalog. And at the same time, with customer service training, how do you talk to individuals? How do you advise them? We're looking at job descriptions. What are the requirements of an advisor? It's not someone that doesn't have any experience in advising. It has to be somebody with advising experience. It's the same thing in financial aid, because, one thing is to know numbers. Another thing is to know how to treat people.
That's right.
And so it is it's the project that I took on as part of Aspen, and it's
Right.
the project that we're taking on as trustees. It isn't. I do appreciate the messages and the phone calls about students that are stuck in advising, and then we refer them to somebody else to get helped because they're kind of stuck there. And so and please keep them coming because
Sure.
we're documenting all that.
And I want to add this also, it's just that I think that a lot of the ones I've gotten are like usually kids that are from high school to going to college, right? And then plus in high school, your parents still do a lot of things for you. You know what I mean? And over here, well, yeah, when you're in college, really, you're on your own. You know what I'm saying? So they're afraid to ask the wrong question, or I guess they're afraid to sound dumb, or whatever the case may be. And really, they're not going to, because that's what we're here for, right? To make them feel better. But I think that that's part of the problem, is that they are on their own, or basically they mostly are. I mean, from now on, it's not their parents' business. Now it's up to them and their business to get higher educated, right?
And that handoff from recruitment to advising, from advising to retention. And so there is a process we should be following. And then to the departments. And we've had multiple conversations about this. I think y'all are going to start the training modules already,
Yes.
right? Because we put together some training modules. And so they're going to start doing that. I don't know if you want to elaborate on your plan, Dr. Rezola.
So we have our first meeting, is it this week or on Thursday? Where we're going to be playing, it's going to be a full, almost a self-reflection of some of the things that we're doing, where we can get better. It'll not only include advising, it'll be admissions, recruitment, financial aid. Everybody in the enrollment management side, we're even going to ask some folks from academic affairs to participate in this exercise. But the idea is that everybody's an advisor in that building, right?
Right.
From the time that you first meet a student to when they register, you're advising, whether they come and see you because they need help paying, whether they come and see you because they have questions about their FAFSA, whether they come and see you about what course to take. We're all, technically advisors, and we all need to be kind of saying the same thing, and we all need to know how to talk to students and have compassion, because aside from them coming here for the first time, and it's not that their parents are kind of pushing them out the door and telling them you're on your own. Some of the parents don't know what to do either.
Right.
If they're first generation, most of their parents have never been to an institution either.
Right.
So it's not that they don't want to help them; they don't know. So they and these students, they're the ones that really, really need the help.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Ms. Guerrero.
Thank you.
Let me say that first, and then I'll.
I just need to finish a couple of my thoughts. And I think you just brought up a great point, Dr. Arrezola, that a lot of times the parents don't know how to guide them. And some of those parents are also potential students. And so I hear what Ms. Garcia is saying about the high school students transitioning to college, but then we also have the older student who has been out of school for 10, 15, sometimes 20, 30 years. And so because we're doing such a great job of promoting our programs, they're finally feeling like they can come back to college. But the process has completely changed from the last time they were here, that they stepped foot here. And so even all of the online stuff, they might use computers at work, but just the whole process of doing everything online, it gets challenging when you haven't been exposed to that in so many years, and you just really don't know where to go. And especially as an older student, and I'm an older student here at LC as well. And as an older student, you feel embarrassed like a young student does. So do the old ones, because you're kind of like, oh man, how can I not know this? There's 18, 19, 20-year-olds here that know what they're doing, and I'm a 50-year-old and I don't know what to do or where to go. And so you get discouraged quickly as an older student because you just feel too embarrassed to ask. And so, just be on the lookout for all of that. I do want to commend you all on the numbers. They are going up, so you are doing something right. And I think, of course, I just speak for myself, not for the entire board, but I think that I recognize that you need more staff. If you want to do a great job, we need more people to be able to help the students, because the handful of employees that we have in each department can't handle the numbers that we have in enrollment. And so that's something that as part of this new advising priority, we will be looking at.
Mr. Rangel?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of follow-ups from Ms. Ramos, Ms. Garcia, and Ms. Liendo.
I'm sorry.
Can you hear me? Okay, that one doesn't work. Can you hear me now? Yes, okay. Just a couple of follow-ups. So, I know that Ms. Ramos mentioned something about, what was the issue with these students that, were in question on what was happening. Does the new application allow them to find out what they're pending? So, and the reason why I'm asking is because kids nowadays, and I think we all mentioned it, kids nowadays, and like Ms. Dendo said, at her 35th year, 35-year-old, she's even embarrassed herself, but like, can kids find out what they're missing? And it's just because they depend on this, right? So they could just understand, because I have a couple questions. So they could just understand how easy it is. I'm either missing something in aid, I'm missing something in advising or whatever. Can't they just find out by the new application?
I'm going to defer to Mr. Dimas.
Yes.
Good afternoon, board, distinguished board, Madam President. We already, for the record, Jorge Dimas, Director of Admission. Thank you so much. Yes, to address your question, we actually have developed already an in-house process that allows students to already check their status. This already comes in their welcome packet. Some of you have seen it already, which is a yellow packet that they received. It's called under My LC Status.
Okay.
They simply just put their Palomino ID and their date of birth, and they'll be able to check automatically what they're missing. If everything is connected with our systems.
Okay,
Sure.
and with that, do we tell them that you just go in here? So
That is
then,
correct.
so then they still fall within the cracks of what I'm missing something and I'm embarrassed to go and
Or I lost my Palomino.
yeah.
If I may add,
But-
to address the question also, I guess some of the things that we've seen in our research as we collect information on why these things are happening, though, I think I guess our new generations now are expected to be doing things, I guess, literally grabbing their hands and doing it one by one. I think they're saying they're expected to be doing things at the time that they're doing. A lot of these things are happening ahead of time. Students are not following through. So we have to pretty much continue the communication often to be able to, I guess, remind the students what also their responsibility is. So again, we're working on that plan to ensure that our students pretty much continue to be engaged basically with the institution and the things that they have to do.
Yeah.
So we're working on it.
I was just wondering if the application was able to actually do that, and I'm happy it does. I think we just need to promote it a little bit more, so then that way kids or students, it doesn't matter the age, it's just so it could be a lot easier for them. I just feel that we just need to educate them a little bit more. But then another follow-up, I'm also in agreement with advising. I think correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Ramirez, but it's because there's so many different advisors everywhere, right? And we haven't actually structured them to just be like in one section, right? Every degree in a way has their own advisors. And if Esteban wants to go to nursing, it's certain advisors. If Esteban wants to go to welding, it's another one. So I just, and just for, and following up also on her comment, on the Aspen, which we will be giving a report to the full board on Thursday. Dr. Ramirez has a couple of plans of how we're going to be doing a certain advising approach into kind of trying to fix this, because and she has a very good plan. I've been talking to her, so I just feel that is a key component for it, But my last question, and if you could go back to your first slide, Dr. Ariazola, what are we doing? I mean, it's no question that the first one. Okay, so like Ms. Newsom said, dual enrollment. There's no question that dual enrollment is getting bigger and bigger and eating up the pie little by little. What are we doing as plans of, I don't want to say transition, but in the sense of like, what happens whenever we reach, I don't know, more than 70% of that pie is going to be a
Correct.
dual enrollment, right? So, and this is more on the curriculum side and everything. What are we doing, to be able to transition if we do get to that point?
And I do think, we just brought it up again yesterday, we've been talking about this for the last 2 years or more. There are a couple of things. To answer your first question, I think we do have a plan of how do we help support the department advisors as well, right? And how do we train them all together? But because of accreditation in some of our areas, we cannot remove the advisors in those departments. And we don't want to. I mean, that's not the plan. The idea is, how do we bring everybody through the same training so that everybody's talking the same language? So that if a student comes in through the advising center and the advisors in advising have to refer them to a department, that the preliminary work that is done in advising is actually complementary to the work that's being done in the department. And so we don't want to take away anybody's role, but the idea is, how do we enhance everybody's role? That's the first part of your question. The second part of the question is, how are we planning for the future? In the most recent information that we received 2 weeks ago at TAC was that in this region, it is approximated that about 30% of this population doesn't even have a high school diploma.
Okay.
And it's safe to say that about a little over 50% or more does not have any college degree. Again, these are coming from census numbers. These are coming from different demographic studies. And these are not our studies. These are huge studies that are done. And so there is a population of our communities that we serve, the 3 counties, that what we would consider low-hanging fruit. And so adjusting some of our recruitment, and we've talked about how do we diverse our recruitment to attract more of the adult learner. I think our degrees are set up to attract that adult learner. And so are our bachelor's degrees, excuse me. And as we move through that process, it is really identifying the key populations that we want to target. And ideally, we want to target that adult population. Now, even in the dual credit area, currently, if you look at the demographics of those students, the majority of those 6,500 students are in the top, I would say, 40% of their class. We
Yes.
still have another 60% of the graduating classes that we can target from multiple programs on our campuses.
Sure.
And so as you break down the numbers, and hence why I purposefully suggested to this board, and you all agreed that Dr. Riazola would be a good fit for this, because it is numbers. It is about taking the data and breaking it down and looking at the numbers to look to the future for where are our opportunities. And certainly the opportunity is in the adult learner, but there's also a huge population within our high school demographics that we're not maximizing. If you look at the high school demographics, about 1,000 students start in every freshman class, and only about 500 to 600 graduate.
That's right.
So what happens to all that other 50% of the class that started when they were freshmen? Where did they go? And what happened to them? And you'll hear things like, well, they migrate to other high schools, or they go, well, if that were true, then the other high schools wouldn't be losing 50% either.
Right.
Right? And so, or 40% in many cases. But the idea is there is still a lot of work to be done. We have not saturated our markets at all. And as the workforce areas continue to evolve and expand, and the more flexible and nimble we become to adapt to the changes and the needs, we're going to be able to capture some of that audience or those prospective students, especially in the technology areas. And with the rise and use of AI, we're really going to have to invent some of our reinvent some of our programs, and how we look to the future with that, and still abide by state and federal laws and requirements that we have to meet. And so it's a balancing act, but certainly there is still a lot of hope for the future. I hope that answers your all's questions.
Yeah, somewhat, yes. And just to finish it off, I do want to commend staff, even though, I know we run into some hiccups, but I mean, the numbers show, like Ms. Leandro said, we're doing something right. And I really applaud every department that everybody comes together and does this, and the numbers show. And I'm very proud to say that we're over 11,000 just this year. So it's really good. Good job, Dr. Ramirez, and your staff.
Ms. Leandro?
Thank you. So as we talk about, students and their parents, and I'm just thinking, I don't know how the fee schedule is really set up, but is there any way for us to offer some type of discount, or maybe a scholarship of a discount, isn't available to do for, bring your mom back to school with you, get your parents to enroll. And that, I think, would be a super awesome campaign, as the students
interesting
graduating
one.
from high school are starting at LC with us. Maybe we can encourage them to encourage their parents to come back and also get a degree. And I think that would be a cool new way to expand our reach.
That's a really good one.
I
And then
know.
even if it is, getting their GED, because like you said, what, 30% of them or 50% don't even have. So, I mean, even a GED, I mean, I think that's an awesome idea. I like it. Cool.
Ms. Ramos?
I just want to offer some food for thought. So at the clearinghouse data that, in the past, it was available for us as the students exited, where were they going, who was staying behind. Maybe some food for thought is just like tap into that clearinghouse data and find out like where are they going. But before that, I think it's really important to start looking at the freshmen. I've always emphasized that we need to start from the beginning, and sometimes even the beginning is kinder, but freshmen are very vulnerable and they're ready to be prepared, and you get them to get their trajectory, their pathway, where are they starting off and where can they start off with, and what's leading to them to get to this point, right? The other thing to consider is school vouchers. So how are we going to be transcending or, transitioning to where those students from the public schools are going into the private schools? And are we going to be offering them the dual enrollment courses? Because we're grappling with, low enrollment at UISD, and then LISD, and then the other private ones. So I know you have it from all different sides and stuff, but there's just the conversation is dual enrollment, but it's not going to be the one that's going to take over the whole thing. We still need to focus on those regular students. So I think there's a lot of great ideas being bounced around, and we should consider many of them and find out which one works for our community. And we just need to make sure that we're hitting on all the different points and making sure that we addressing the community as a whole, because we also has to take into consideration a lot of our students that are, like, for example, enrolled at LBJ. they are getting their dual enrollment courses. But if they are living on the outskirts of Laredo, then they come to school here, they're charged the out of district, correct? So
Yes.
you see,
Because they don't pay taxes.
because, yeah, exactly. So those issues, I think, bring them back to us. I think the student success group gives you the opportunity to come and speak those different subject points and going back and forth. And on the part about students calling the board members, it's nothing bad. It's just sometimes
Yeah.
they just reach out to us. But I've also learned as they're reaching out to us that I really don't know the status of their situation because I don't have access to any of that information. That's why we call Dr. Ramirez and let them know. And so the message is passed on to you all. So I don't want you to think that, we're like, people are calling us consistently. If they call us, is because we want answers for them to be successful and also to appease the community of how we can help them get to where they need to get. So I really wanted to share that with you.
I wanted to say also, yes, thank you guys, and you are doing a good job, but of course, there always is new problems. I mean, we solve a problem and then a new problem arises, and we solve a problem and a new problem arises. So our problem before was enrollment. We are, we are making headway in that problem, right? We're doing better. We're not only hitting our goal, but we are exceeding our goal as of today, right? But the same thing. And they're growing pains because we are growing, because after COVID, after all of that, everything changed, the way we handle things, the way we do things. And so really we're trying to give you all this information because we want to be better.
Well, and if I may, Ms. Garcia, I think another down the road issue we're going to have to face, aside from the homeschooled student that is receiving a voucher through the governor's program, is the quality of the education of the homeschool
That's
student.
true.
And then they try to come to school, and so there's going to have to be a balance. And so right now is, how are we going to prepare and plan for that when as we face that in
Yes.
a year or 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, when they start coming to us, because there is a growing population in our community of homeschool students. And I'm not, I don't have an opinion one way or another. The idea is, how do we service them as well as independents? And then, so at our last TAC meeting, there was a long discussion between CEOs and TAC and some of our partners at the coordinating board about what is the process we're supposed to follow, and is it the same if they're not accredited schools and they're not, and their accreditation, there is no accreditation for homeschooling.
Okay.
And so how are we supposed to validate the learning, and how are we supposed to, and so there's still a lot to be developed. The coordinating board and TEA are working together to try to resolve some of those issues. And those are some of the next cycle of growing pains we're going to face. And how we plan and prepare for that down the road is going to be critical. So yes, you're right. They're growing pains. They're good problems to have. But they're also, some of these need to be resolved immediately.
Anyone else?
Yes, I'd like to.
Ms. Newsom?
I would like to request from, I don't really know who, but I would like to see what exactly the MOU is, or if that's even what it's called, between Laredo College and all the schools in Laredo, not just UISD and LISD, because I'm sure there are dual enrollment students from other campuses, right? Not just UISD and LISD. So I would like to see exactly what it entails. I believe that there are gaps. There's a lot of misunderstanding. And this has come to me from different people, right? And it's like they're saying some issues, right? Some of those issues that they brought up were concerns of mine as well. but I don't know if anybody has brought up an issue regarding dual enrollment. So I have seen these concerns since I have had students that have been in dual enrollment. Friends and family members that have had students in dual enrollment from both districts and maybe somewhere else. I don't really know where all their kids go. So I need to see exactly what is being what is the message that is given to both of these districts and anybody else who participates, and where is the disconnect from the college into the high schools, because that affects students at the end. And we're talking about dual enrollment students and how to engage some of these students to bring them back. You want them to continue their education here. It might be in a certification, it might be an associate's or something like that, and they're not going to go everywhere else. And I know that Dr. Ramirez mentioned, the dual enrollment students are typically your top 40%. Well, there's a lot of kids that aren't in your 40%, and they don't want to get a bachelor's or a master's. They want to come here and get a certification. They want to come here and possibly get an associate's. And maybe once they're here, join in one of the bachelor programs that are here. But there is definitely a disconnect. And this is the reason that I'm saying this, is because I have spoken to the people, the individuals that are in charge per se of dual enrollment from both districts. One, because I'm a principal, right? High school principal. Right now at the school that I'm at this year, currently, I don't have any dual enrollment students. But prior to this year, I did have dual enrollment students. So I don't know the relationship that I had, right? It was easy for me to contact, right? And it should be like that, where the principal or whoever's in charge is able to contact anybody from their department that's going to help them with students that are in dual enrollment. There has to be, someone they can call, or somewhere, or some office that they can call, right? Who is that person? What office is it? Number one. Number two, are both districts following the same protocol? But it has to be the same. We can't have UISD doing something different from LISD when it comes to dual enrollment, because it's here. And we want to bring these kids back. I mean, some of these kids, yes, they're getting these courses, and they, like, Dr. Ramirez said, they're going to go off into a wonderful 4-year university, but I work here, right? I work here. And so I want to bring these kids back. I don't want to lose them. And we are losing kids. And what's going on? There has been some issues that have been brought up to me by parents. One, for example, that I was going to read it, but I better not. I'm going to try to remember what it said. Something about a form, right? That her child needed to sign, that it was a falsified form, or and I'm just reading this like, okay, I'm not sure what's going on. There's a lot of confusion also with the parents, and yes, there is a big disconnect when the kids leave. The umbilical cord is cut, they graduate, and they're on their own. But while they're in high school, they still live under their parents' roof. And so parents do reach out and tell me what, some of the issues that they're having. And I always redirect them back to the Department of, have you spoken to, advising? Have you spoken to the teacher of record at that campus? Sometimes, hey, the teacher of record is dropping the ball. Have you spoken to the administrators at that high school? Have you spoken to the principal of that high school? I mean, I'll go before I bring anything to Dr. Ramirez. Like, I will not bring anything to Dr. Ramirez, because since I'm familiar with it, I can talk to parents and say, hey, call this person, call this department, go here, do this. But for the parents that don't have that knowledge, that's where it works. What I do for a living. That don't have that knowledge, they get lost sometimes they get lost. And there is a misunderstanding with what the campuses are saying to the parents, because parents have to go to these meetings, sign forms, and what have not. So there's a disconnect there. they're going to this meeting, they're told certain things, and then here's another campus and they're saying something else, then here's another district that's saying something else, and it should not be like that. We need to have something so airtight that both districts and everybody in Laredo is, if it's dual enrollment, this is what is done and this is what is not, this is what cannot. It needs to be, and this is what parents can't do. I'll tell you, as a parent of a dual enrollment student, I was told my son's freshman year that we as parents could not, now this was, I'll say Alexander, I don't care if it's true. Alexander, now I don't know if all the UISD schools said it, but they told me as a mother, you cannot get into your sons, or they didn't say sons, they were talking to everybody, right? But you cannot get into their campus. That is their responsibility, that is their, and you know, because like, you know, Erica's saying, you know, yeah, we have to cut the umbilical cord and start, you know, transitioning them to where they're going to be on their own eventually as freshmen. But here, I guess what it is I'm being told, right? This is me as a parent. Now I'm speaking as a parent and a taxpayer and a community member and an educator, no longer talking as a mom. But all the other moms that were there, they're being told, you cannot do this. It's against the policy. It's against, so some parents, those that are obedient, right, to those things are not going to be getting on, they're scared. And I'll tell you, as a parent myself, not once, not freshman, sophomore, junior year, or this year, did I ever, I didn't even know how to get into his email, nothing. I respected that. So is that something that we should encourage parents to do, to keep also, because yes, when they're in high school, Ms. Benavides was there at a high school, you know that yes, the parents do need to still guide their children.
We ask them to guide their children.
Yeah, yes. So I mean, there's so many questions that I have on dual enrollment, and I really want to start with looking at everything that we have currently in place and trying to fine tune it and make it better for everybody. Because some of the things that have happened, I don't think should have happened, number one, and I'm not saying it's the college fault, right? I mean, there's also a lot of things, like I said, the high schools, they're saying different things. The districts are saying different things. How do I know? Because at LISD, we have this policy. This is what we do. This is how we track our dual enrollment students at LISD. It's simple. UISD has this other way. What is the college saying? What do we need?
Okay, go ahead, Dr. Tirina.
Hold on. Are you done?
No, I have a lot to say, but I just wanted to see everything. Like I will start with, give me what you all have so that I can review it. I would like to review it myself. And then, you know, I will bring questions or maybe put a board agenda item. But
I'm
right
saying
now, I want to
because
start with being able to
if
read.
she still has more questions, maybe she'll finish and then you can answer her question.
Oh,
So
well,
you
well,
have
wait.
more questions or you don't?
No.
Well, then do we respond?
Okay, well,
to
then you
Ms.
want to wait because if she's not.
We're not
gonna
going to
hear-
respond to if Ms. Newsom's not in the room.
I know, let's wait. Yeah. Let's wait for
Just
her.
go with the meeting, Ms. B. Like,
Okay, well then, let's go on.
I mean, staff shouldn't.
Hold
go
on.
through
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Just for accreditation, Marisela Rodriguez Tijerina, Provost
Yes.
Vice President of Academic Affairs. Because it's a public meeting, I do want to address to the public
Okay,
that it's the absolute need that only the student registered in the class takes the activities, the assessments of the class. That's why there's that main standard of integrity, and we have to protect the credit to where nobody can be doing activities, whether it's a sister, a mom, a grandpa. It has to be the student enrolled in the class, taking the class. If
Mhm.
not, a lot of issues can come about in accreditation and in our agency. So I just wanted to clarify that in public because that is not anything that should be happening. And if it is, it needs to be addressed.
Also-
to-
Well,
and I also
and
would
I-
appreciate that if you would repeat that again
Yes.
when Ms. Newsom comes in the room.
Well, the other thing is that there are distinctions between, and the law is clear about what is a high school student and a college student. And in this case, a dual credit student is technically both.
Right.
However, the student is still in locus parentis of the high school.
Yep.
And so they are responsible for day-to-day operations. All of our MOUs with all of our high schools that Dr. Tejerina and Julio Reyes and Dr. Ariazola work on with approval of our legal team, they're all the same.
Yeah.
They're all the same. That no one gets a different MOU. They're all
And a lot of
exactly the same.
components- Sorry to interrupt, but a lot of the components that are in the MOUs are governed by the state law. All those parts that belong there are there because we're required to put them there by the state. We're not,
Right. And so
Basically,
that's for
priority.
starters. The second, and then thirdly, on grades. So Canvas is protected to the college student because that's where their assignments are.
Right.
And that's where they maneuver their exams and their everything else. But parents of high school students, how they get into Student Skyward, because both of our main districts use it, but so does Zapata and so do our other, our Hebronville and Bruni. These are programs that are high schools that we do dual credit, that we have dual credit agreements with. They encourage parents to look at Skyward, right? And so the Canvas platform is because it is the integrity and the security of who's doing the work on Canvas, because that's where the work is to be done. So no, parents don't have access, or the sister or whoever, a friend that they pay to take the class for them or what have you. So that I think that's the difference. Now, Skyward being the district's platform, the grades that come off of Canvas are then fed into Skyward at each district. The MOUs are all exactly the same for all of our dual credit programs.
And that I did know because I studied, you know,
Well,
when we did
and
all that,
one-
I did know that.
And the one office that is assigned to be our liaison for dual credit is Mr. Julio Reyes's office,
Okay.
and which is recruitment and dual credit. And all of the recruiters are on the campuses weekly, and they work as dual credit liaisons within each campus as well. And so then on top of that, we have faculty, and we have faculty liaisons that are at each campus as well. And they're working with the high school counselor responsible for dual credit. And at some high schools, there are different rules that they follow, but they're high school rules. They're not ours. We have
And
an
we don't have
MOU.
control over what each high school does, right?
No, ma'am.
I realize
We
that.
don't govern the high schools.
That's
We don't govern the public schools.
That's right.
So I think that we'll be happy to provide the board with a copy of the MOU that we use for all school districts. They're all exactly the same. But certainly we encourage when we don't, at the college level, we don't deal with parent complaints. We recommend parents go through the high school because of the in locus parentis that the school is governed by.
Okay.
And they are very protective of that. The
Sure.
districts are.
Yes,
Because technically, they're still high school students.
right.
It is until they graduate from high school and they actually come to us as what we call FTICs or regular students, that then they become our responsibility.
Right. Dr. Tejerina, will you please repeat what you said now that Ms. Newsom is in the room?
Marisela Rodriguez Tijerina, Provost Vice President of Academic Affairs. I was just going to, I mentioned earlier that because it's a public meeting, I
Please
want to
read it.
ensure to the public that we follow all our accreditation standards, and meaning when it comes to the credit, only the student registered in the course is allowed to take the course. And that includes all the activities, all the assessment. The moment there's deviations, then that's an academic dishonesty policy and procedures that we would have to follow. So if we hear of any incidents happening, please report it to us, because that is something that we treat very seriously, because that is a violation of the course, the credit, and our accrediting standard.
Okay.
If I can add to that.
Yes.
I know I I forgot what presentations I've done, but I think on Thursday we will be presenting on our fifth year interim report. As part of that fifth year interim report, there is an accreditation standard that where we have to provide evidence of how we ensure that any student that logs into their LMS, in this case Canvas, is that student. Right? How are we ensuring that the student that logs in is that actual student? So we just wrote up a whole response to that on how we ensure students' identity when they're logging into Canvas.
Wow.
So we have to make sure that.
Through biometrics or something.
Well, I mean,
I don't know. I mean,
multi-factor
really,
authentication,
right?
and so on.
I can comment on that. As a student, there are certain assignments or exams that the professors will require you to use the lockdown browser where you have to show your ID. And so that's how and you're being recorded as you're taking the exam. So that's how they know, that it's you. But then there are other, daily assignments where you don't need to show your ID. But I mean, if that's something that needs to be done, I don't think any student would oppose to that. But that's just my opinion. I do have a comment on the MOUs. I did know that the MOU was the same for all the schools because I came across an incident, I believe it was last summer. And I think there is room for improvement within the school districts. Aside from us, we do our part. We give them the MOU. We offer this opportunity to their students. But I think at the school district level, they need to fine tune their policy because I just came across this instance at UISD where there were students who got approved to be part of the dual enrollment program. And students at one high school, everyone was told you have to attend the summer bridge program. And certain students
God bless you.
at one high school, they were told you cannot, if you do not attend this summer bridge program, you are out. You cannot enroll in dual enrollment. And some students found out about that they were accepted maybe like in March. I don't know when they got accepted, but they already had their summer plans. And so we're talking about trips out of state, out of the country, tickets bought, hotels booked, and it was going to throw off the family's plans for the summer. So at one school, they said, absolutely not. If you do not attend, you will not be enrolled. At another school in the same school district, they said, oh yeah, we can accommodate you, don't worry. And so that's not us. That's not LC.
I know.
But that is where we need to, I guess, talk to the school districts and let them know that this is affecting their students and they need to do a better job of making sure that it's the same across the board. Because then it comes to us and they think it's our fault. Because it did get to me with them thinking that it was an LC requirement that they had to attend the summer bridge on this certain day and that they couldn't take it in another school on another date. And again, you make a couple of phone calls to board members and then things are suddenly okay to do, and it shouldn't be that way, And so, of course, that's not an LC problem. That's a school district problem, which I think we can meet with them and let them know this is what we're hearing. This is where you can improve.
Ms. Newsom? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Ms. Ramos first. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Ms. Newsom.
Madam Chair, I just want to make a clarification because I know we've been talking about this subject quite extensively. But if Ms. Newsom is requesting the MOUs, I think that Madam Chair,
Yes.
if you could approve that we
Yes, I
accept
was.
them
I was
as
just
a
waiting.
group. Right?
Yes. Mhm.
Instead of just one individual, it would be for all of us
Sure.
as the student success group
Mhm, mhm.
first, right? And then we could pass it on to
I
our
was just
fellow board
waiting for
members.
like the conversation to be over.
I just want to make sure I get that clarification
Yes.
done because there are a lot of different versions, so to speak. I was also at the high school level and I could see a lot of things that were taking place. But again, out of my control, as an employee, it was out of my control. I could not dictate to the individuals in charge what was supposed to be done correctly because I was a worker I was a librarian and
I'm not in charge.
and not in charge. But offering suggestions to my fellow colleagues here at the college was all I could do, because they already had it streamlined. They already had procedures and protocols. And yes, they differ by schools. I do totally agree with you on that. It has to be the district that has to work in unison to get all the students, because the product is being delivered by the college, but the dissemination of the product when it gets to the school, everybody has a different point of view, from the counselors to the teachers to the students to the parents. Some of them don't come to the meetings, some of them do come to the meetings, some of them don't pass the class, and what happens with the class. So the clarification has to come from the school district. We have a memorandum of understanding that we're going to deliver the product. They need to refine those techniques and those procedures. And it would be for me to call another trustee at a neighboring school district, that for me in my little section, that's a no-no. I never asked them what they were doing, because I would come to you all and I would ask you, how is it that we can clarify or work on the procedure and so forth, because they're 2-3 different entities. And so we need to make sure that we continue that, because at any moment, if they're not happy with our product, they can go somewhere else.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's
Just gonna say
Okay.
that.
I'm
that
sorry,
is right. Go ahead, Ms. Newsom, before Dr. Ramirez. Go ahead, Ms. Newsom.
Yeah, so what,
Is your mic on?
before I left, does it?
It's on.
Is it on?
It does, yeah. Before I left, and I'm sorry, I had to take that was my boss, the superintendent, so I did have to step out fast. So the MOU maybe has to be, I haven't seen it, and I'm being honest, I have not seen it at all.
Well, we're
So-
gonna get it. We're
So-
gonna
so
get it.
Maybe it has to be more descriptive, because I don't think that we can dictate to schools what to do, but I think the how, right? We can be prescriptive as a college. And I do think there has to be some unison, maybe not across, everybody, every school, but there is, even within the same district.
Yes.
So even in the same district, I don't understand, like, for example, why Alexander would be doing something from, let's say, LBJ. Again, I just think, and I haven't seen the MOU. Maybe once I see it,
That's what I was gonna say.
like,
Let's wait, let you look at it. Let's let you read it before you start saying other, you know what I mean?
yeah.
And then when you have a good understanding, then we can talk about it. Is there anything else, Dr. Ramirez?
No, I was gonna just comment on Ms. Ramos's comment. Yeah, the districts have a choice. They can go anywhere.
I know.
And
And that's
so
another thing.
we
Because
have
guys,
to-
we do have to be careful, because we want to keep these students,
Absolutely.
because they can definitely go to TAMU where they came from.
Or any other
Or
college.
any other college.
Because
That's
a
right.
lot of the programs are offered online.
And we don't want that to happen either.
No,
Okay.
and really, I think the idea is, I think on all of our school district partners, they too want to make their process and their programs stronger and more adaptable, and certainly a lot more accessible to more students. I think that's why we're seeing the growth in the program. Again, going back to one of you made an earlier comment about, these are good problems to have. I
Yes.
mean, maybe not good for an individual student or to have, but the idea is, how do we streamline our process? How do we make the communication stronger and better? How do we look at current internal procedures? And are we sharing enough information about our process, whether it's, grade appeals or anything, whatever the process is, the application process or how Canvas works, or is there a way for us to, create a video to help students use Canvas? Those kinds of things. And so we're always looking for ways to improve the things that we're doing. Certainly the advising process we've talked about ad nauseum, but really, how do we meet the needs and demands of everybody? You have to remember that 11,500 plus students, And the entire community expects us to be all things to all people.
Right.
And so how we meet those demands, we're gonna have better days, and we're gonna have good days and bad days, and then
Sure.
we'll have better days, right? And so certainly the voices of the people that you hear and the people that you represent are important to all of us,
Right.
because every student deserves the very best from us.
Thank you. And so with that, okay,
Can I just add?
yes, go right ahead.
Two more things.
Okay.
I promise I'll be quick. Okay, maybe three. But,
Okay.
first of all, Mr. Reyes here, every August brings in all dual credit faculty from both school districts,
All school districts.
from all school districts. And
Okay.
they come in, and one of the major points of discussion is some of the common expectations we have of everybody. A couple of things about the MOU. As I mentioned earlier, many of the components that go in an MOU are prescribed by the state. We have to follow what the state says. One of the other things that's required by state is for our MOUs to be posted online, right? And there are, if you go to our website and scroll to the bottom, all our dual credit agreements are here. Right. So we'll provide copies of these.
Could you do that?
for
Could
the
you
next
provide
board meeting,
copy?
but just so for your
No, I think it
information,
still
you
is a
can-
good idea for them
for
to
your
provide it
information, at any time you can see.
to the committee, sir, and also any agreements, like, does the school district give us anything in writing as well?
Just
Does the school
MOU.
district give us anything in writing?
The MOUs.
Is the one that takes care of it all?
Mhm.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, then if you could please have that for us?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Anything else? Okay, thank you. Let us move on. Next, number 4, discuss Laredo College employees and students out-of-country travel to Spain. Dr. Marisela Rodriguez Tijerina. Thank you, Dr. Zola.
Thank you.
Mr. Reyes, Mr. Dimas, thank you.
Marisela Rodriguez Tijerina, Provost Vice President of Academic Affairs. I'm very pleased with this item. This is exciting news because it's so nice to see an idea that Dr. Ramirez brought to the table, and to see I don't want to present it by myself. I want Dr. Marisa Guerrero and Bianca Cubrier to
Perfect.
come up with me, because these two ladies have worked immensely to make this whole study abroad program work. They've done tremendous research, followed, I think Homeland also knows about them because we're covering all our tracks to ensure that this experience is a positive learning experience for the students. And so what this is asking, and I'll let them explain more, is just to approve the travel that will be, they have to start working on the travel arrangements, and it's going to involve 5 employees and right now an estimate of 12 students. And we already capped it because we have to provide the company also with a set amount of students. And so this is just an explanation, and I'll pass it on to Ms. Gurriel. As you can see, her pin has an airplane now, so she's ready. She's ready to roll.
I'll share with you.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bianca Cubriel, the Global Learning and Leadership Coordinator. As Dr. Tijerina mentioned, we will be traveling to Spain this May with our first study abroad program here at Laredo College. It is very exciting. The students are excited, and we already have ideas to build on this program for the years to come. So thank you so much for having us here.
Thank you. We're very excited too, as a matter of fact, for the college to be
Yes.
doing something like this. You don't find that very often with community colleges or with colleges. It's,
Right.
usually universities. And so, I think that we stand as a beacon to other schools and other
Mhm.
colleges, not only in Texas, but in this country,
Right, yes.
to start doing, things like this
I
for our
agree.
kids and offering opportunities that they probably would not have the chance to ever have. So thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Mr. Rangel?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, this is awesome. I'm telling Dr. Ramirez, I've never been to Spain, so it's like, wow. But if I may, Ms. Benavides, if we can maybe possibly get a report right after they travel,
Oh, yeah.
but take it to the full board, pictures, videos, and if
Oh,
we could
yes.
have the kids, at least one or two that you designate to kind of just what they experienced, right? I think, and especially because our kids, I want to say a lot of them probably have never even traveled out of the country.
Mhm.
So I would want to know their experience, and so the board can take it in as a whole and to be able to see what we've actually, approved and to have them give us their intake of what they experienced. I think it will be a really nice
Mhm.
presentation, Ms. Benavides.
Yes, so please, after y'all
Yes.
return, you could report to the board. with,
Definitely.
of course, a presentation and maybe a
Mhm.
couple of students
Yeah.
to give their testimonies.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
We
B.
have plans for that, so
Yes.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Bianca, you want to talk about the number of students going and what they've been doing to prepare and plan for the trip?
Yes, so we have 12 students traveling with us this May, and part of those 12 students, we launched a new student organization on campus as well called GLOBE, stands for Global Leadership Organization in Business and Exploration. And these students have help fundraise for the study abroad program. They're learning about different cultures and differences in the countries that they're going to be visiting for this one, Spain. They are also attending workshops, study abroad workshops, where they're learning what to expect. As mentioned before, some of these students will be getting on a plane for the very first time. What is the airport procedure? And this is an amazing, as you mentioned, for the opportunity for the college, because it is seen at the university level. And these students will start here. And I tell them, as somebody who loves to travel, once you go on your first trip, your life is changed. You're going
Right.
to want to continue.
Amazing.
And so that can spread to their family members, to their friends, and getting everybody on board. And so they've been participating with the Globe, fundraising at our Fall Fest. They're going to be participating at our Fun Fest. We've been out in the community at the benefits with the local restaurants to try to help these students financially be able to afford this opportunity because it is such a great thing. And yes,
Great job.
thank you.
Anything else? Anybody else?
No, ma'am.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for doing what you all are doing. We
Thank
really
you so much
appreciate
for
it.
all the support. Thank you.
Yes. Dr. Tijerina?
I also wanted to add, thanks to on top of these ladies fundraising, but also, I know she's at the South Campus, but Dr. Diana Ortiz and Dr. Minita Ramirez, because they have helped fundraise this account too, to allow our students to be able to take advantage of this opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. I have somebody that worked with me at La Posada that will be going, and she is very excited, and she keeps me updated, and I have helped her with some of her fundraising, but she keeps me updated, and she is thrilled. So I know firsthand the feeling that those students have that are going to be able to enjoy this opportunity. So thank you very much.
I was just going to add one thing because she's very humble and she won't take credit, but I also want to thank Dr. Tijerina, of course, Dr. Ramirez. As I said, literally, Dr. Ramirez brought me the folder and said, you need to go and start learning about this. But we've had tremendous support. As you've said, how many college administrators, president, provost, do you know would support this crazy idea? And it's only growing. So we're looking at starting another study abroad that will be in conjunction with our level 1, which will be our bachelor's program. And that's slated already. And we already have students on a waiting list for next summer.
That's
So
very
I do
good.
want to thank the board. Thank you, Dr. Ramirez.
Because that is an education in itself.
It is.
Traveling
It is.
to another foreign country with different religions and different ways of life and different cultures
Yes.
is an education unto itself.
So
that
thank
is,
you. Yes, thank you all very
priceless.
much for your support.
Thank you. Anybody else? No? Okay, well, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you very much for your time and for all your work.
Yay. No. Did I bring my purse down?
This is a fake. Hey,
Oh,
this is a costume, like a sandwich. Yeah.
It's cute.
Country and Western day.
Oh, it's
Thank
cute.
you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying.